to be more people like you, more people who give so willingly to people like me. It's plain to see, with people like you, folk have a better break to take to people like me. Your caring smile makes working worthwhile. When pressure's on you, carry on through every trial. You're really great, I appreciate. You've got the goods for what it takes to make people like me.
Hello there. Now this man is a dark horse. I met him also at a party. I seem to go to parties and meet people all the time. I do have a pretty interesting life, I must admit. But I have interviewed Alan before. But I interviewed Alan as a poet. He has a very interesting slant on life. And I thought he was an interesting, sort of semi-interesting person who worked in an office and wrote poetry on the side and stuff like that. And I wasn't really terribly excited about him until I found out that Alan works for Street Mission. Now tell us, what is Street Mission?
A Street Mission is a charity which helps the less fortunate, the disadvantaged of our society. Street people, homeless kids, yes. And we operate mainly on the northern beaches, Chatswood, Manly and DY.
Northern beaches?
Yes.
Are there homeless people on the northern beaches?
It's Manly in particular is a very polarised area.
Is it?
You have the haves and the have-nots, and not too much in between.
Really?
Yes.
That's very interesting. Now tell us, who runs Street Mission?
Well, I'm actually the founder member, but we have a committee of 7 very capable people who run the charity.
What do you actually do?
Frontline work, we have our Street Mission Cafe, and every Saturday night in Manly we feed maybe 35 to 45 people, give them a hot meal, coffee and cake.
This is your camera.
And,
You tell that camera.
We give them a hot meal, coffee and cake, and a bit of TLC, a bit of love and kindness. Because a lot don't come down for the food at all, Toy. They come down for
a talk, perhaps
a chat, and just a few kind words, and a laugh, and sometimes a bit of music, and a bit of poetry, sometimes, and just a general chat.
And does any of them write poetry themselves?
Occasionally we get a poet in there.
Yes.
Very occasionally.
Yes, I saw a book once, some years ago, called Dreaming Under a Bridge. And it was written by people who actually lived under a bridge. And they all wrote poetry, and somebody found out about it and published a little book. And it was very enlightening. But what made you start this? I mean, it's not a church thing? A religious thing at all?
No, we work with the church, but not for the church. And,
which church? Any particular church?
Well, I'll tell you, the Uniting Church in Manly has been very kind to us.
I see.
They've let us use their kitchen to cook the food every Saturday night.
Yes.
And they've given us the area at the front of the church so we can set up our tables there, and we can serve our people there. And the homeless and the disadvantaged, they get their meal and they sit on the steps of the church. And they have their meal there. So the church has been very kind to us in this way.
That's amazing. And how many people work with you?
We have maybe 20 volunteers for the cafe. About 6 of us each Saturday night. We go along and cook the food in the church and set it up on the tables. And generally we have a good time. For me, it's the best night of the week. It's
really? Well, I think that's amazing. I think it's just wonderful. And is there anything that I can do or we can do or that public can do or anything to help you?
Or you can visit the website and www.streetmission.org.au streetmission.com.au.
Streetmission.com.au.
Street Mission, all one word.
Yeah.
And there are several ways to help, either through donations or by volunteering your time.
Yeah.
Or we're always looking for blankets and sleeping bags and warm clothing to hand out to these people on a Sunday night.
Goodness. And why do they have to sleep in the street? Aren't there shelters for these people?
There are a few, Joy, but there's just not enough.
Not enough.
And for women in our area, there's absolutely nothing.
And do you find more men than women, or women than men, or children, or who?
It's about a 2-to-1 ratio of men to women, but
more men than women.
Yes, there are. And we do have some facilities for the men, but very, very limited.
Oh,
so several of them will be sleeping in the park tonight.
Sleeping in the park. And they have blankets. They carry them around with them. What do they do? What do they do with their possessions?
Normally a big bag, a big plastic bag or a kit bag of some sort. And they lose their sleeping bags and their blankets, and we get the new ones, and they lose them again.
Because they rob each other, don't they?
This goes on, and they lose them, and they get wet and they get thrown out.
It'd be terribly sad to see people like this.
So when I first started Street Mission, the cafe, after about 3 or 4 weeks, three homeless chaps turned up, and as we were packing up, I gave them a hot meal, and they had no blankets or sleeping bags, and I gave them each a blanket, and they lay down in front of the church, and the rain was coming in on them. And these were Australian citizens, and I just went home and cried. And I thought, how terrible.
It is. You have a big heart, there's no doubt about it. And let's hope that this little interlude on TVS will stir some people to get up there and help. I know there are other people helping. I know you've got Wesley Mission, Smith Street, Smith family, all sorts of different people evidently trying to help these people. But there's never enough, is there? And you are contributing something just wonderful to the community. And I love you for it, Alan. Thank you so much.
We always need volunteers.
Yes, remember that. Volunteers, that's what we want. So go to the website and have a look and just imagine what you can do to help these people. Thank you.
There ought to be more people like you.